Today we have a special guest. Today we're here with Erin, aka Vegan of the People. And, Erin, I just want to start off by saying, thank you for coming here. I appreciate you being here. And let's have some fun. Let's have some fun today. I want to ask you some very interesting questions. I want to get to know you a little bit better and your vegan journey. The first question is, Erin, how long have you been vegan for?
I've been vegan for 17 years, a really long time.
Wow. So you've been vegan for 17 years and we're in the year 2023. Yeah. So we're talking about 0506.
Yep.
How did you know back then, before we had all this information, that going vegan and being vegan was the way?
So it was a bit of a process. I'm going to make it long story short. I think when I was a kid and I was learning about the meat packing industry at the turn of the century, I stopped eating red meat, beef, and pork. I went away for summers, college. I went to Spain for 2 summers and it was very pork heavy. So I didn't eat a lot of meat there. Cut to coming back and just wanting vegetables, like craving a salad, like nobody's business when I got back.
Wait a second. Hold on. You might be, actually, no. I was going to say you might be the first person I've ever heard that says that they're craving a salad, but I'm lying. People love salads now because they have entire restaurants like Just Salad and Chopped based around salad craving. So, okay. So you were craving a salad.
I know.
So would you say that when you went to Spain and when you were abroad, that it was difficult for you to find a meal that wasn't animal heavy?
Yes.
Okay.
And granted, I think that things have changed, but I was in a small provincial town in Spain. It was very, not even just meat, pork heavy. And I ate a lot of French fries and a lot of baguettes. I wasn't like even vegetarian then, but one thing led to another when I got back, and we had a vegan family friend come to a barbecue searching for like a vegan, meal. And I was like, oh, I'm a vegetarian burger. It happened to be vegan. And he's like, why don't you just be vegan? And I was like, huh? And so I started from there, kind of planted the seed, and I started just like reading about food industry. And, I was lactose intolerant, and I just, one thing led to another, and I was vegetarian.
You made that step?
I just like step by step.
Okay.
And like eventually stopped eating fish. That was the only thing I ate when I got back from Spain. And it was a conscious decision, for sure. And I remember the last like non-vegan meal I had at a diner with my dad. But I would say it wasn't a decision where I was like, it wasn't like a pronouncement. It just was like something I decided to do. And that was that.
Since you remember that last meal, what was it?
Oh, it was French toast, an omelet, and hash browns in Philly at a little diner.
I thought you were going to tell me it was a big, juicy steak. Since this is your last meal, you're going to go out with a bang.
No, because I wasn't eating red meat at that time.
Oh, okay.
I had stopped eating that already. Yeah.
You mentioned lactose intolerant, and something that I think about is I believe that all Black people are lactose intolerant. I don't believe that we are meant to digest dairy. That's why we end up having the runs after, we digest, milk and cheese and all of these things.
No, it's true. It's science. Like, I think, I don't want to throw out the number, but like 70 or something % of like people of African descent are don't produce the enzyme to break down lactose. Like, so it's actual fact.
We live in a world where science is only used to support the backings when people want to use it. Because if you mention to people, hey, like 70%.
Don't quote me on the 70.
Okay.
But it's a high percentage.
Okay. It's a high percentage.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool. Now, what has being vegan done for you, right? You mentioned that the decision to go vegan and be vegan was more conscious, right? So what were the conscious benefits that came after you decided to, kind of go full force?
So some of the benefits that I've, gotten since becoming vegan are, and people ask me this and sometimes it's hard to remember, but a couple things. Physically, I remember, because I like to eat, like anyone who follows me knows that I like to eat, and that hasn't changed. But I used to, I think, probably overeat, but I feel less stuffed now. When I get to the point where I'm full, it's a less of a stuffed full. That is true. I do remember that feeling. And also, like, my stomach doesn't hurt anymore because I was eating dairy and could not process dairy. So those are the two, like, physical things that are very distinct in my mind that feel very different from then to now. But just like life-wise, I like my palate expanded. Like I eat so many more types of food, so many more food ingredients. One that I had never heard of, and two that I had never tried before I was vegan. Because I wasn't exposed to them. And I think just kind of like the standard American diet, we kind of eat like a more narrow set of food. So I
say
eat
that
so much more.
I say that all the time. I feel as if even non-vegans, like, it doesn't get boring eating chicken, like those items. And you mentioned something that's so interesting, right? I feel as if, once you kind of make that transition to veganism, right, you start learning more about food, and it truly does expand your palate, because it's like you now have to be your flavors, the taste buds right now have to be stronger. Your sense of flavors now needs to be heightened, because when you're cooking vegan food, it's now all about the flavors and the seasoning and them being enriched. Somebody who's starting to become a little bit more aware of what they're putting into their system, their body, and they want to, start incorporating more vegan plant-based items onto their plate. What do you feel as if some tips that you can give to them to assist them not to go vegan or plant-based overnight, but to take it one day at a time? What's some advice that you can give to someone?
So the advice that I would give to someone who's like, I want to try more plant-based and isn't necessarily wanting to go full throttle, is start with the foods that you already know that are inherently plant-based, that you don't think of it, because I do think a lot of it, there's a mental block. People are like, plant-based, vegan, what is that? And it's like, there are many foods that people already eat that are either plant-based or can be easily made plant-based. So like maybe having your spaghetti, but instead of putting beef in it, not putting meat in it, and seeing what that is. Or trying the faux meats. I think they're a very good entry point for people, because the faux meats, although they're also processed food, they are, but I think that it gives you like the familiar taste of something you already know. And so it's an entry point, like I think that's a good place to start, like having your, salad at lunch, just being like, you know what, I'm going to omit the chicken today. Or I'm going to keep the chicken and omit the cheese. And then next week, I'm going to omit the chicken and cheese. And I'm going to try quinoa in it and see. I think just making small modifications to things, something like, for instance, Thanksgiving, like my family is from the Midwest. They're very meat eating. My mom makes the same greens, but before she puts the ham hock in them, she separates mine and she puts liquid smoke. And the flavor is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, you're not having the like fatty meaty texture, but you're going to get that same flavor. And for example, I use that spaghetti example because my cousin started making me vegan spaghetti. And when the regular spaghetti would run out with meat in it, she starts serving everybody the vegan spaghetti, and nobody noticed. So now she just makes one big thing of vegan spaghetti. Like people are going to enjoy good food,
And that's so funny, because I feel as if it's so controversial, right?
Yeah.
If you give some vegan food to somebody who's a non-vegan, they're like, I don't want this. But if they taste it and then they find out it's vegan, it's like, wait a second, I want a little bit more of this. Exactly. Where's the vegan spaghetti at? And now they want the vegan food that's supposed to be for the vegans.
Exactly. They didn't even know. It's just like she puts that out once the meat spaghetti is gone, and then next thing you know, it's just like, I'm just gonna make this one for everybody, and nobody complains about it.
What is the most difficult part of being vegan for you?
Ooh.
If there are any.
I actually don't think what's the most difficult part of being vegan? I don't know if this is the right answer, but I really don't think it's that difficult.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just the length of time, and like in the beginning you have to read everything. And I still read labels, but I'm so familiar now with like, what things have what in them, what the sneaky ingredients are, where, like, it's so funny because you'll be with people and they'll be like, wait, how'd you know to ask that? Or like, what made you think that was going to have that in it? And you're like, at this point, I don't find it to be too difficult.
Okay.
I mean,
so there is a lot of research, it seems like, when adopting a vegan friendly, plant-based friendly diet. So there's some work to be done, right?
For sure.
It's not like you can, just kind of get over it. There is going to be some work and research that you have to do, whether it's, learning recipes or, purchasing a recipe book, or like you said, a lot of people are not familiar with that liquid smoke and what it does, and, kind of like how to manipulate certain flavors and seasonings.
For sure.
Would you say it's difficult for you when traveling and, grabbing some food?
That is a trick bag of a question. It can be. Okay. I think, historically, like when I would travel for work, I would be the person that's like researching the venue I'm going to, researching the hotel, and researching like all the vegan restaurants within, the general vicinity to see when I can go to where and, et cetera. Now, like depending on the job or if I'm going for pleasure, I still do that research. And then I know this is going to be a space that has vegan meals for me, or it's not. And when it's not, I bring snacks, I bring ready-made meals. I like find where the grocery store is. And I find that generally people are very accommodating if you tell them in advance, like in work situations. And then if I'm traveling for leisure, I'm finding the vegan spots. So it's no problem. Like no matter what, I've found them all over the world. Vienna, I was in Vienna for like 72 hours. I found a vegan spot to go to.
Fire. and even the airlines now are beginning to incorporate, it seems like, some, vegan friendly meals. But although they're incorporating them, what I like to do is sometimes just bring my own sandwich on the plane, so I don't have to, worry about that. What are some brands that you use when you're home, or that you eat, right? When you're home, if you're cooking, what are some vegan brands that you enjoy?
Okay. Vegan brands that I enjoy. Oh God, that's a hard question, Nick. There's so many. Let's see. Like my regular go-to is like Vegenaise. Okay. For that. Okay. I like, what's that oat milk? Califia Farms. I really like their oat milk, like their, almond milk. I'm an almond milk girl over oat milk girl. Don't fight me. Although I still like soy in my coffee.
So almond milk over oat milk.
In terms of cooking and just like cereal, yes, all day.
Can you taste the difference?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, almond milk would be my default if I had to choose a milk. But different milks for different things. I'm into that Goodles brand, like for a Ready Mac, like that Goodles brand mac and cheese. Okay.
And since we're on the topic of cheese, what about for like the sliced cheese? If you're making a sandwich.
See, people are gonna get mad at me.
Don't say Daya.
No, I do like Daya slices. I know that's controversial. Not slices, shreds. I still like Daya shreds, but I think Violife for the slices is the business.
Violife, definitely. So Violife is good. What's the other one?
Is it Chow? Do you like Chow?
Yes. Yeah. Chow is really, really good. I like that. Follow Your Heart makes some pretty good cheeses as well.
They do.
I use them for mayo.
Mayo. Okay, yeah. Wait, is Follow Your Heart the Vegenaise?
It might be.
I think it is.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you use, some people might be upset because, they're processed and all this, but do you eat, Impossible and Beyond Burgers and Beyond products and stuff like that?
I eat processed meat. Yes, I do. Okay. Like Impossible, Beyond. Mm-hmm. I do. Now, I try to limit it. Like, it's not like my go-to, I'm eating this every day type meal. But yeah, they're convenient. Like, like we go barbecue at my boyfriend's, brother's house. We bring I like the way that the Beyond Burgers grill more than Impossible, more than how the Impossible Burgers grill, because they're a little bit thicker. If you want to talk about like the faux meats, this is like a low key one that we've just gotten onto. The sim nuggets, the like tenders, simulation or whatever, like the nugs.
The grocery store. So
those tenders.
So I'm gonna say this. What scared me was the name.
The name is really trippy.
When I see stimulation nuggets, it doesn't even, like, nothing vegan or plant-based comes to mind. I just see simulation nuggets and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And I see a picture of a chicken on the box and I was like, I'm not too sure if I want to try this, even though it's a vegan brand. But you're saying it's pretty good.
The tenders. I've tried the tenders. In my opinion, so far, they're the best tenders that I've had. Okay. But I agree that the packaging and the name is not, like, I've seen it so many times. I think I tried it because it was on sale and I was like, oh, okay. In the air fryer.
Now I'm going to get a little personal with you. You mentioned when you go to your boyfriend's brother's house, right? Were you able to convince your boyfriend to eat vegan food, or was he eating vegan food before y'all met?
Well, Absolutely. Otherwise, I would not be with him, first of all. But he was eating some vegan food before that. We actually like used to go to this restaurant Bliss that used to exist in Williamsburg on 7th, like separate from each other. Like before we met, like we both would like go to that spot. So that was like a funny thing that we realized when we first started dating. But yeah, he's vegan adjacent.
Okay.
Like he absolutely eats vegan food.
Okay.
Yeah, his
Nice.
mom cooks us vegan food,
Nice,
which is
nice,
amazing.
nice. Yeah. And do you think a non-vegan or a vegan can be with a partner who is not necessarily willing to try that food? Meaning, can a vegan date a non-vegan who does not want to eat any vegan food? Is that possible, or is that kind of tricky?
Well, let me start with my philosophy is to each their own. So if that's what you like, do you. I personally would not be able to be with a person who like ate like who was not willing to try like any vegan food, because it's like, how are we going to eat? Like, are we just going to have separate meals? Like one of my best guy friends is like a McDonald's dude down it like through and through. Like he's joked about, me being vegan for our whole friendship, like 17 years. But he will go with me to eat vegan food, but he'll be like, "No, I'm good." And I'm still on a mission to convince him to try something, and I will get him to try something. Like he would go eat with me, but I always tell him like I would never be able to date anyone like you. Like,
where do you think it comes from of just not wanting to try the vegan food, right? Like, what's the roadblock for people when they're just like, no, I don't want to try vegan food? Because like we always say, at the end of the day, it's food, right?
Right.
You have your rice, your beans, you may have some sort of meat alternative or meat substitute, but it's still good food. Why not, eat the good food? I don't, is it the fact that like we've had this conversation before, is it the vegan word? Is that what's scaring him? Like if it was called something else, like would people be more willing to try it? And I think that a lot of people sometimes are just stuck in our culture, right? In our culture, we've been eating certain foods for so long. Like I remember some of my friends, they're like, ew, what is that? That looks nasty. Why are you drinking a smoothie? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Now those same folks are like, hey, Nick, how do I do this? Or where can I get some good, healthy food? And it's so crazy because I think just as much as, everybody wants to be rich and everybody wants to have all of this paper money, that it is only real and it's only important because of the importance we give it. Like, actual physical money is not real, but your health is real. So the same way everyone wants to be rich, I think that everybody should want to be healthy in some capacity, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you're saying, like that there is just like a stigma with the word. And I think generally speaking with humans, behavior modification is just difficult. So I think most of us just like want to do what we've always done. But I think with vegan in particular, it's just this very and in fairness to other people, vegans are not always welcoming. Like it's very inset, outset. Either you are or you aren't. So I just feel like sometimes people feel like, no. Like I'm not that, period, end of story. But I have found, generally speaking, over time, and one thing that is very important to me is that I never try to force, it onto anyone or shame people into it. I just don't feel like, and I know everybody has their way. In my own experience, that hasn't been the most effective way of getting people to be open to it. What I have found is that I eat with people. I invite them to places that have the options. When I'm home, I share my food with people. And I have found that over time, people just get used to the idea of it. And after that idea is normalized, then they are willing to try. And after they're willing to try, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just like, I feel like, making it look good and showing people that like, yes, this is something that's tasty and fun. And, I'm a normal human being,
Nice.
Like is what opens up people's mind to it.
Erin, I know you from Instagram and I see all the amazing, fun places that you go to try, their food, and you post about these restaurants on your page. What made you start doing this?
Like I said before, I used to travel, or I still travel a lot for work, but I'd like way back, like have a steno notebook and try all the vegan restaurants wherever I was. And I always kind of was like, God, it'd be so cool. I've always liked food prior to becoming vegan and still now. And I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to be like Anthony Bourdain, but vegan. Like I always like had that thought in mind like years and years ago. So at some point, like, you know, I think my boyfriend now is an entrepreneur and is creative. And he was like, let's just like start doing this on Instagram. Like, you know, and like friends have been like, you need to like do a YouTube or whatever. And so one thing led to another. It's a creative outlet for me. And it's also a way to just show like how much good food there is. All these like amazing small businesses, like local businesses, like businesses owned by all different people, all different types of people, all different types of walks of life, and all really good food. And I really just wanted to like share that and be like, let's do it. You know?
And we share a similar story because I think what made me want to start my Instagram page, my YouTube page was, I believe I was watching Guy Fieri and I was just like, well, I can do this, but there's nothing centered around vegan food, right? Like, you know, all the diners he was going to, the drive-ins he were going to were meat-centric. Although, you know, he'd go to a vegan restaurant here and there, but I really liked his style of really showcasing the food. And so, you know, it's a mission of mine to become the Black Guy Fieri, you know? Yeah, so with your page, I see, you know, you're reaching a lot of different folks, right? So you review different foods, you go to their restaurants. Is there anything, you know, new to come? Are you going to be starting a YouTube page? Are you going to be, you know, showing yourself cooking? Are there going to be more posts? What's new to come?
Oh, Nick has hit me with the hard ones. Okay, so what's new to come on VOTP? Yeah, I think we'll continue to expand. Like we obviously like want to continue to add more travel. Like, you know, our trip to Paris was absolutely amazing. We want to like just more travel as time allows, etc.
Because I can see you with a YouTube page. You know, you have a very bright and airy personality. I can definitely see you with your own YouTube page telling everybody, hey, followers, you know.
Thanks, Nick. You heard it here first. Nick is like, we're having a YouTube. Actually, we actually started off on YouTube, funny enough. Like, we started like, oh, we're going to make a YouTube channel. You know, yeah, YouTube's hard. But then we're like, we'll just have an Instagram to like send people over to the YouTube. And we did a couple like test shoots and we were like, posting the Instagram and just like, I don't know, something wasn't hitting with the, with the YouTube, and just Instagram sort of like took its own, you know, started to take its own shape. And so who knows? I mean, honestly, who knows? We know more travel, a little cooking, because we do eat at home as well. But that yet to be, you know, it is yet to be seen exactly like what we do next, but certainly like more travel.
What are some of your favorite vegan restaurants here in New York City?
Now, Nick, why are you going to ask me my favorite vegan restaurants? There's so many. Jesus.
Give me no order.
Okay.
If I'm not from New York City, what are 3 vegan restaurants that I need to try?
All vegan. They have to be all vegan.
Yeah, all vegan.
Okay. Oh, if you're not from New York City, I think 3 vegan restaurants. I am so bad at picking 3 vegan restaurants that you have to try. Roz, plant-based Ethiopian food in Brooklyn. It's just awesome. That would be 1. Roz, plant-based in Brooklyn. I think...
Black-owned, too.
Black-owned, yep. A couple, family, dope story. I think... Okay, this one is far. It's off the radar.
Okay.
And it's vegetarian, not vegan. Okay. But I was like obsessed with Smile of the Beyond's breakfast.
So that's in Jamaica, Queens.
It's in Queens. Right? It is not like super centrally located.
It's right on the Ave. And people sleep. Well, people sleep on Queens all the time. And people sleep on that one location because it's a small diner. And if you're looking, like you said, it's vegetarian, but they have vegan-based meals and everything. And it's a great introduction to just, you know, some good vegan diner food. It
truly is. Like, if you want just like a diner style, that omelet, I'm telling you, that omelet is like, for me, it's the best omelet I've had. I don't want to overstate it, but like diner style food, that's the spot. Okay. So that's 2. Okay. And then what is my 3rd one? I'm blanking. God, there's so many. It's just so hard to say. I think Spicy Moon, you know, just because like it's very, like the food is very accessible. Like if you're looking for like Szechuan, like, you know, I think this is like, you know, very familiar to us all. Like it's something where like
Asian centric food.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's really hard to pick 3, but I think like those would be 3 that I really genuinely like.
So we have Ross Plant Based.
Yep.
We have Smile of the Beyond.
Yep.
And we have Spicy Moon.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, one more.
One more.
I have to pick a fourth one. All right. For a breakfast sandwich, ATM Deli, that breakfast sandwich, if you want like a New York style breakfast sandwich, that breakfast sandwich is everything and more. Like what he is doing is like food alchemy magic, and pastries Le Petit Monsieur. Sorry. Okay, that was 5.
Okay,
Period.
Cool. Thank you, Erin. I appreciate you. So where can the people find you? What's your Instagram page?
So I'm at Vegan of the People on Instagram.
Nice.
And TikTok.
Hey, let's get it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Nick.